Her and the Clovers, Her and the Clover Man, Her and the Clover Man with the Clover PP. We're not going to get into it too much anyway. I'm not getting demonetized for Clover penis discussions. I'm really not. Hey, what's up? My name's Alea. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another reading vlog. So today we're going to be doing another monster holiday romance vlog, and we're going to be doing one for St. Patrick's Day, and I'm really excited because I recently started this vlog series on my channel, and I'll leave the playlist link down below if you want to check out the other ones, because I've done one for Christmas and I've done one for Valentine's Day. And basically what I've been doing is going and researching a bunch of holiday monster romances and compiling them into one video and reading them all back to back just to see what's good and what's not, and just to have like a fun holiday experience basically. And I've also been throwing in the occasional one that's not a monster romance if there's one that I think looks really good, because I have found a few like normal holiday novellas that don't have monsters but they're still really fun, and so I've been sprinkling those in as well. But today we're going to be doing the one for St. Patrick's Day, and I'm really excited. I have a whole bunch of books on my TBR for this vlog. So I have one called Go Luck Yourself by Sarah Rosh, and it's the sequel to The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a book club pick that we read a couple months ago that I really liked. And this one is following the brother of the guy from book one, and so basically in this world there's different like families that represent each holiday, and they kind of are like in rivalry with one another. And so in this one, the younger Prince of Christmas has a romance with one of the princes of St. Patrick's Day, and so it's queer as well, and I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited to see what the St. Patrick's Day holiday family's magic looks like, because each of the families in here also has like magic abilities associated with their specific holiday, and it's really cool. It's a really fun, like kind of new fantasy series that I'm really enjoying. And I also have a couple that are leprechaun monster romances. So one of them I think is called Railed by the Leprechaun, and the other one is Leprechaun's Mate. And so I've never heard anything about either one of these. I have read from Dahlia Davies before, and I think she wrote Railed by the Leprechaun. But the other one, I don't think I've read from that author before, so it's going to be very new. And I've also never read a leprechaun romance before, so it's going to be really fun. I'm really excited. And then I also have one that is a dragon shifter romance. I think it's called Get Lucky or something like that. Again, I've never heard about this one before, but it's on Kindle Unlimited, and I thought it looked really cool. What the dragons have to do with St. Patrick's Day, I have no idea, but I'm excited to find out. And then the last one I have on my TBR for the moment is a lion shifter romance, and it is following a guy who can shapeshift into a lion. And this series is kind of interesting because it looks, I mean, it looks trashy, which I'm excited about. And I just love to read garbage. What can I say? Anyways, so these books are following like different holidays, so that's kind of interesting. So the first one is a mountain lion shifter romance set during Valentine's Day, and then this one is the lion during St. Patrick's Day. And what the funny thing to me is that the animals have like nothing to do with the holiday at all, and so I'm just intrigued to see what's going on with that. I didn't read the first one for my Valentine's Day vlog because I didn't find it until after I already filmed that, but I'm excited to read the lion one, and if it's good I might go back and read the first one in the series. We'll see. So those are kind of the ones that are currently on my TBR, but I might add things in or like switch things around as we go, because I'm always like on the hunt for new holiday monster romances, shifter romances, whatever it may be, but they're kind of hard to find sometimes. Like for Valentine's Day, I had kind of a hard time finding ones that looked really good, even on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm curious to see how this goes. We will see, but so far I'm having a good time like reading as the holidays come along. So in the future I'd like to do one of these vlogs for Halloween, I'd like to do one for Easter, I'd like to do one for Thanksgiving. So if you have any recommendations for like really good holiday or like monster romances set during holidays, they can be novellas, novels, whatever, Kindle Unlimited, whatever, it doesn't matter where they are, I will find them. But if you have any good recommendations for anything like that, let me know in the comments and I will add it into my holiday TBRs. So with that being said, let's get into the reading vlog. Hello, my sweet little petunias. So this week we're basically going to be reading a bunch of leprechaun smut, essentially, and we're also going to be throwing in some little other like St. Patrick's Day romances that I talked about. And also there is a festival going on in my hometown this weekend, and so we're going to be going to that. They have like a parade, and they have a whole bunch of different booths that have different like crafts and things like that that people sell. So there's usually like a bunch of handmade jewelry and like homemade soap and food. There's like a food fair and all this different stuff. So I'm going to take you along with me for that because my whole family's going to that. And then I also need to go to PetSmart today and get some food for my cat Nellie and maybe some new toys. And also on the weekends, I recently found out that the PetSmart in my hometown has a kitten rescue where they bring in kittens every weekend to sell. And so I've kind of like gotten to know the lady who runs the cat rescue. And so I'm going to go see her and like see what kittens she has this week because I just like to go and like hold all the cats. We're not getting another one anytime soon, but I like to go and just like see them all. So, anyways, without further ado, let's go on some little weekend adventures. And then when we get back, we'll do some reading. Hello, my sweet little petunias. It's been a couple days since I updated you. Sorry to come back to you with this hair. I look like Minnie Mouse who like went through a portal from 2012 and like hit a wood chipper on the way in anyway. She's rough, but I wanted to give you a little haul of all the things that I picked up at the festival that we went to because they had a whole bunch of really cute little booths with like jewelry and they had like food fair stuff and fudge and art and like all kinds of cool things. So I wanted to give you a little haul of a little fun little thingies that I got, and then we're going to do a reading update. So the first couple things I got are earrings from the festival. So I want to show you these because they're so tender. And I got these ones, which are rose gold, and they have like little tulips. Aren't they cool? I'm not really sure what they're made out of. I think it might be like clay or something, but anyways, it's made by Erica Hallman Creations. I'll try to leave the Instagram linked down below, but I thought this was really cute because there's also like an inside to the flowers, if you can see that. And I love tulips, and I just thought they were so cute. And they're like long, so I think they'd be really good for spring. And I love the pink. Sorry, the angle is moved. My cat keeps hitting the tripod. We really love to see it. Anyways, I got some other little springy earrings that are really cute. And they're these little like orange ones, and they have like a little leaf and a little flower, and they're so cute, and I just really like them. And it says, okay, it says they're handmade, and the Facebook is called Quaint's Page. I'll try to leave that link down below too if I can find it. But anyways, these are just so darling, and I love them so much. Can you see those clearly? Look how cute, look how tender. They're little oranges. Anyways, love that. And I also got a couple other like little things. So I got this little magnet that's a frog, and Nellie's here to mess up the shot. Love it. Anyways, it's a little frog, and my husband and I have been trying to collect magnets from like different places we go to. So I thought that would be really fun. My cat's trying to play with my earrings. A menace. Anyways, I also got this little patch that I thought was really cute, and it's like little cactuses, and I want to put it on my little purse because I have this little black purse, and my black purse is boring, but it's cuter with the cactus. You see the vision? And then the last thing I got is a really cute art print. And this is it. Isn't it stunning? It's like a moon with these really cool like sky islands and this really cool skyfish. I thought it was really pretty and colorful because we are moving soon across the country to Iowa from Idaho, which is like a 24-hour drive. And when we get there, we are renting a bigger place where I think I'm going to be able to have my own office. So I really want to do like a art wall, like by my desk. And so I'm trying to collect a bunch more art prints and like fun picture frames and like different things like that. So I can have a really cool like editing and work from home art looking room, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm collecting things as I see them at different like festivals and little art shops and things like that. Hello, editing Alea here to tell you that there's a couple other things that I forgot to tell you when I filmed this video in the past. So one of the other things that I got when we were at the festival is a really cute plant from the little plant lady who was there and had a little stand. Look at this little guy. Look at this little friend of ours. Isn't he just a peach? He's got little eyeballs. I got this little planter there too. And then I got this super cute little plant. And the lady who ran the plant stand was so nice. I'll leave her Instagram link down below. She's super cool. She basically like talked me through all the different plants she had, because I told her, I was like, I want one that is good with low light and is also safe for cats, because now we have the cats and they always try to eat my plants, and I have a lot of ones that are like poisonous to cats, so I have to keep them like way up high on top of the kitchen cupboards. So I wanted like a new little one that's cute but like low maintenance, doesn't need a ton of water or sun or anything, and isn't going to kill my cat. So I got this one, and it's called a peperonia plant because it has these little like leaves that are shaped almost like pepperonis, and they're so cute. So anyways, I got this little guy. If you want to name him, leave a name in the comments because we're taking name applications for him. And then I also want to let you know that my dad and I have been working on making this like homemade rustic cat tree for my cat, because my dad is getting really into like woodworking and stuff, and since I've been visiting my parents where I am right now, he's been teaching me how to do some like woodworking and stuff, and like how to take the bark off of trees. So we took the bark off of this tree that we cut down a while ago in the yard and made it into a cat tree, and so we just finally finished it. So I wanted to show you because Nellie has been like running all over it lately, so I'm also going to show you that in a minute. But that's all the things that past me forgot to tell you. So let's flip it back to me from the past. So that's kind of everything I got from the festival. And then in terms of reading, I have read a few things. So I will say that I found two more leprechaun romances that I wanted to read for this video. So one of them is called Lured by the Leprechaun, and this one is between a leprechaun guy and a human woman. And then I found another one, it's called Shaking for Shamrocks. And this one is a sentient plant romance between a human girl and some sentient shamrock plants that may or may not transform into a shamrock hottie biscotti. And the two of them have, relations. Anyways, both those are on Kindle Unlimited. and I was just looking for like leprechaun, St. Patrick's Day monster romances, and I found both of those, and I was like, okay, those sound wild. Let's add them to the TBR. So those have been added to the TBR. And I also read all of Getting Lucky. So this one was a dragon shifter romance, and it's kind of a weird setup. I really didn't like the beginning of it. I almost DNF'd it at the beginning, but then later on it got fun. So I'm glad that I powered through. But the beginning opens with this girl, and she's at a bar with her brother and her brother's best friend. So she's been down bad for her brother's best friend since they were like teenagers. She's super into him. He's like hot, and he is kind of like a nepo baby. His family has like a lot of money, and he's kind of a player. And she's seen him like, go home with other women at parties and stuff before, but she still is really attracted to him for some reason that I could not deduce. But anyway, he is at this bar with her, and it's like right before St. Patrick's Day, and he literally proposes to her out of the blue at this bar, and she's like, what? Like, why do you want me to marry you? Like, he's never showed any interest in her, and so she's never like outright said anything to him about having this like huge crush on him. But he knows, like, he's figured it out. Girly Pop is not being discreet about her feelings. Anyways, and so he's just like, you should marry me. And she's like, why? I thought you like didn't like me like that. And he's like, well, I like have this new tech whatever company or research that I want to do, but I need money to do it. And so he's like, I want to get the money from my trust fund, but I can't access my trust fund until I get married. And I know that you like me, and I thought that you would say yes, and like, I'll make it worth your while, and whatever. She'll be like well off because his family has coin and everything. And she's like, dude, like, that's shitty. Like, if I'm gonna be with you, I want you to be with me because you like me back, kind of a deal. And he like was expecting her to just drop everything and be like, oh my god, yes, just because he knows that she has a crush on him. And anyway, so the story opens with that, which, one, very messy. Two, he, not he's not giving emotionally available. He's not giving, head over heels, I'm obsessed with you, love you, girl. That's not what he's bringing to the function. He's bringing this like cocky, asshole, arrogant, rich boy, silver spoon in his mouth energy to the function, which I did not personally enjoy. But I will say, as the story goes on, it just gets like goofy. Like, this shit was goofy. Um, I was like, girl, be for real. This doesn't make a lick of sense. It didn't make a bit of goddamn sense the whole time, but I was like eating it up like ice cream, honey. So the deal with him is that he is a dragon shifter, but nobody knows. So this girl that he just proposed to doesn't know, her brother doesn't know, it's his best friend doesn't know, and his whole family is dragon shifters, and they're like really ancient beings. They're really rich because they've been like accumulating wealth over time for so long because they're like practically immortal. And he has always kind of just like, I don't know, squandered everything. Like, he goes out and like parties and drinks and like does dumbass shit all the time, and it's just like really thoughtless about his actions. And so he doesn't have like a very good reputation with his family. And so they're kind of like considering like cutting him off financially because he's just a loose cannon. But anyway, so things unfold after he proposes to this girl and is trying to get access to his trust fund, and she basically says like, no, I'm not going to marry you. And so he's trying to find like other avenues to like get the money and whatever. But things kind of hit the fan when other people find out that he's a dragon shifter, including Miss Girly Pop McGee, because they end up like hooking up, and he like shifts into a dragon, and she's like, "What the fuck? I thought you were a guy. You're a dragon." Anyways, and his family finds out that she knows, and they start coming after her, and they try to kill her. And the story like really goes from there. And anyways, it was fun once we got into like the dragon shifter stuff, because our main girl also has some like familial ancestry stuff that she didn't know about that kind of plays into the dragon world, and that was really interesting and very funny, I have to say. And his family is like totally crazy, by the way. Like, anybody who comes sniffing around their place, or like even has an inkling that they could be dragon shifters, they like kill them right now, like in the pits of the mansion that they have. They like roast people alive with their dragon fire if they find out that they're shifters. So that's pretty intense. So he's got a pretty intense, crazy family. He's a loose cannon. And he's kind of a greedy turd, and he's a dragon, and he's hot. And that's the tea, sis. To be honest, I gave it a 3 star. I liked it. It got really fun towards the end. I think it's also a standalone, so that was also interesting. I loved all the dragon stuff. I will say that. I didn't like the spicy scenes because it just, I don't know. The first one especially like kind of gave me the ick the first time that they like hooked up. I don't know. The spicy scenes in here were just they were weird, and I wasn't here for that. But I was here for all the dragon shifting and the familial drama and the rich people dragon society drama. I was in it for that. So I would recommend it if you want like a really fast read and you want to read about dragon shifters. I will say that the whole St. Patrick's Day thing was like his line of dragons was supposed to be, I don't know, there was like a relation to Ireland or the Irish or something like that, and their like colors are like green and gold, and so St. Patrick's Day is like a big thing for their family that they celebrate and stuff. But I felt like it could have been more St. Patrick's Day ish. Like they could have leaned into that more and had that be more of an element to the story. Because I feel like the story would have been exactly the same had St. Patrick's Day like not been involved in it at all. So it wasn't exactly a leprechaun thing, and it wasn't exactly as St. Patrick's Day oriented as I would have preferred, but it was a fun romance and I did like it. And then I also read one of those 2 new ones that I mentioned. I read Shaking for Shamrocks, and it was super short. I think it's like 25 pages on KU. And I have to say, it was very interesting and I really liked it. I think I'm also going to give that one a 3. The beginning opens with this girl, and she is going to the bar on St. Patrick's Day to get like some green beer with the girls. And sorry if you can hear the sirens outside. I was listening to the peaceful birds, and that was somebody's house is probably on fire. And that's the tea. Anyway, back to the Shamrock Smut. So Girly Pop's going to the bar to get her green beer, and she ends up running into this random ass girl at the bar she's never met before who's like super drunk. And the girl and her become like friends, like drunk girls do at the bar. And the girl gives her this flower crown made out of shamrocks that she made that night because there's like a little park thing with a bench on the way to the bar, and it's like up the road, and there's a whole bunch of like shamrocks in the grass, and our main character lives like near there, and so she's seen this park a bunch of times. She's hung out there before, and there's this bench, and that's kind of it. It's just like the shamrocks and the bench, and it's kind of like in between 2 buildings in kind of a weird spot. But she likes it. It's like a cool little hangout. And so this drunk girl at the bar is like, "Here, wear my flower crown. I made it, and I think it'd look cute on you." And so our main character like puts the flower crown on with the shamrocks and stuff, and she's like drinking and having fun. And then on her walk home from the bar, she stops in to the little like park between the buildings and sits down on the bench. And then all of a sudden some little shamrock guys start climbing, up her leg and like up her skirt, and things go from there. And my cat is having opinions about the shamrock smut as well. Big feelings we have over here. Anyway, so our main girl quickly realizes that the shamrocks are like alive, and they start like talking to her, and it's the voice of this like man, and he basically is like, "You're like wearing my clovers, and you come here all the time, and you must be here to like seduce me or whatever." And she's like, I'm so sorry, Mr. Cloverman. I wasn't aware that you were even a thing." And basically, this whatever clover entity uh, can like control the clovers and also can like make them form into like a human esque body. very, very sentient plant monster romance energy. Anyway, so they like get it on in this park. Her and the clovers, her and the clover man, her and the clover man with the clover PP. We're not going to get into it too much anyway. I'm not getting demonetized for clover penis discussions. I'm really not. Anyway, not the hill I'm dying on today, honey. So, anyway, so she hooks up with this dude. And then a couple days later, she goes back to the bar and she's like kind of avoiding the park because she's like, I don't know what that was. It was a super fun, spicy time, but I think I just boned down with a plant, man. I don't really know what happened. And she's like thinking that maybe she was drunk enough that like she like dreamed it or like it was a hallucination or something. Anyways, she's like, "Oh my god, that green beer was like really strong. I feel like I might have boned down with a clover man, but who's to say?" So she's kind of avoiding it. And then she is at the bar again, and it's the same girl that she runs into again. And she and the drunk girl from a few days ago are like hanging out again, and this guy comes in, human guy. And he is like hitting on her, our main character, and like being kind of aggressive about it, and she tells him off, and then the sentient shamrock hottie biscotti down the road, he can like hear everything somehow. His clovers have ears. Anyways, he hears everything. And so he hears her like getting hit on by this aggressive dude and like thinks she's not safe or whatever. And right as he's like realizing that, this couple walks into like his park area, and apparently he has the ability to like kill people, and he can like suck them into the ground and then inhabit their human body and then parade around as this human person, which it sounds like he hasn't done that for a long time, but he basically does that and then goes into the bar and like saves this girl, and then they live like happily ever after, and he's like wearing the corpse of this guy he killed. And that's the tea. You ever have that happen to you? You ever bone down with a clover man and then he's also a murderer, and he also wears the skin of another dude so that he can bone you as a human forever? Hello? Anyway, these are the things I'm reading. 2025 has been one hell of a reading year, folks. Anyway, so that's kind of the reading update I have. I think that's all the things I've read and all the things I bought and all the things that scarred my brain tissue. I think that's it. Is that it? Oh, no. I lied to you.
Lies! Lies and slander!
There's one other book I need to tell you about. Now, here's the deal. So, I think I told you I was going to read Railed by the Leprechaun 2 by Dahlia Davies. And this is, again, she's a novella, okay? This is I think under 200 pages. Anyway, so I started reading this, and the beginning, I really liked the beginning. The beginning almost had like Wizard of Oz energy, and we're finding this girl, and she's living in this it's giving shack in the middle of Oklahoma with my four siblings who are wearing potato sacks as dresses. Like that's the vibe. And basically the deal is I think their mom died, and their dad is like the only parent that they have, and our main girl is the oldest of the siblings. And the dad is like a gambler or whatever, and he made some dumbass deal with these old gods, and he made a deal with like the leprechaun god and like lost the bet or the deal or whatever, and so he's stuck in the old god's world, basically as like a hostage, and he can't leave. And the oldest daughter knows that, and she's been trying to like take care of the kids on her own, and they miss their dad, even though he's a total asshole, total loser. And she's like, oh my God, this sucks. I need to go get my dad back just so everybody quits crying and bitching in their potato sacks. And so she does. And she's been trying for a long time, but she can't manage to get into the old god's world because she has to like run to the end of the rainbow and like jump through it or some shit. And so she finally does. And she gets into the old god's world, and she finds the leprechaun guy who has her dad hostage. It's kind of a like Medusa from the Percy Jackson movie moment where the leprechaun guy like turns people into statues in his like magic garden thing if they like don't win their deal with him. And so her dad is a statue, and so she's trying to free her dad, but she doesn't actually give a shit about her dad. She's just doing it so her siblings have at least one parent in their life. And she's, also at the same time into this leprechaun guy. Now, here's the thing that really got me is the leprechaun guy is strange, and not in like a hot way. Strange in like, King, I wish you'd pick a form because there's too many things happening with him. So he can morph into a snake. He can also be a little green man. He has rainbow eyes. He's got all kinds of powers. He's very like sexual, which is like fine, but I don't know. He's just kind of creepy and weird. There's not really any consent. She's like into him from the jump for like no reason. And I think, I don't know. I think that something of like, taboo and forbidden, and he's dark and mysterious, and he's a god, which is very alluring, and I get that. And he lives in this weird magic garden that seems like it's kind of like dying. Anyways, the setting is interesting but also makes no sense. But what really doesn't make sense to me is trying to visualize this leprechaun man. And I found this character art, and that was actually really helpful in terms of like trying to picture what homie looks like, because it's just out of pocket and doesn't make any sense. I hated that he was also a snake. I thought it was totally stupid. It just, the descriptions of him don't make sense, and the descriptions of his garden also are kind of weird. But I got that, like, I get the mystical setting, but I can't deal with him and the lack of consent. But what really took me out is I was kind of here for the weirdness of it, and I was trying to like embrace that. And then there was some spicy scenes which were fine. There's like some whatever BDSM stuff, okay, whatever, we've read that before. But what really got me, and I was reading this book on reading sprints with my friends, Richie and Sam, and I DNF'd this book on sprints because I just straight up couldn't do it anymore. There's a spicy scene where right before they start messing around, she mentions something about like how she doesn't want to have kids because she's like worried that he's going to get her pregnant or something. And he basically says like, no, like I can't because we're different species, and I'd have to have like permission from like the higher up gods or something in order to like get somebody pregnant, which is weird, but anyway, which is like whatever. But she says like, hey, I don't think I want to have kids. It's not even like a definitive like, oh my god, I hate kids, I never want to have kids. It's more like she's like, I don't want to get pregnant. And he, without asking her, during the time when they're messing around, this genuinely, I don't even want to tell you this, it makes me want to throw up. I've never had a romance like this. I think maybe one other that just like kind of sicked me out. So he turns into a snake, goes inside of her, and eats her ovaries, and like takes them out of her body and eats them in front of her. And she doesn't really know what's happening. And I understood it immediately. And it doesn't like hurt her or anything. He's like using magic. So that wasn't the icky part. The icky part is like, no man should ever be ripping out your ovaries without you saying you want that, just because you made a passing comment about like not feeling like getting pregnant. Ew, oh my god, it gave me the ick. It made me a little bit just disgusted, and I was like, the way this book could have been really cool and then just went there with it. Ooh, ew, oh my god. It was icky, and I think it was my least favorite of like all the books that I've read in this video. Um yeah, it was gross and I didn't like it. And I wouldn't recommend it because I just felt like nobody should have to read that. And that's the tea. So I think that's my final reading update for you. Hate to leave you with a DNF, but anyways, we're really getting into the weeds here on into the shamrocks, I should say, with this leprechaun smut, St. Patrick's Day smut, monstery stuff. But anyways, so that's what I have for you, and I will update you when I've read something else. Nelly. Hi, pretty girl. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hi, pretty girl. What are you doing? Good morning. Hello, Pookie. What are you doing? Do you like your new cat tree? This thing's pretty sick, huh? I gotta give him the tour. So we took this normal tree and we cut it out of the yard, and then we put plywood platforms on them, put carpet on it, and then did hot glue and rope for scratching posts. And then we put these eye bolts in and hung a little hammock right here that I got on Amazon. It's Nelly approved. And then we got a little basket up here from Petco that we took the legs off, and then we just attached it to this platform right here. And now we got a nice little spot for Nelly to hang out. And there's a little flower pillow in there from Amazon too. It's purple. It's really cute. She's digging it. Hello, so I have a reading update for you guys. So I just finished reading Lured by the Leprechaun, and this is a really short novella, and I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to give it like 3.5 stars. It is basically following this girl, Nora, who's a human, and she is living out of her van with her dog, and I'm not really sure where she's going. She doesn't really seem like she has much of a plan. She's kind of just like seemingly a nomad, and she's on the road. She stops for gas in this small town called Shamrock in the middle of nowhere, and it's set during St. Patrick's Day. It's like the weekend before St. Patrick's Day or whatever. And she stops at this gas station, and she goes in, and there's a couple guys in the gas station, and one of them is like really creepy to her.
These white men are dangerous.
And the other one is the cashier, and he's kind of like doesn't want to make eye contact with her. But they both are kind of like, hey, like, why don't you stay, you know? And she's like, no, I'm just like passing through. Can I just like get a cup of coffee? And they're kind of creepy and weird to her. And she's like, okay, I don't really feel comfortable here. Like, there's kind of a weird culty vibe in this town. Like, I'm not comfortable. Like, I need to get back on the road. And so she goes back to her van, and she is like taking her dog to go pee or whatever, and she finds this gold coin on the ground, and she picks it up, puts it in her pocket, like doesn't think very much of it. And the story kind of goes from there. So as it turns out, this gold coin is not just like some fake little plastic thing that she thought it was. It's actually like a token that's associated with the leprechaun that lives in the woods and kind of like watches over this town. And since it's St. Patrick's Day, there is this like Shamrock St. Patrick's Day festival happening in this town where the townspeople like pay tribute to this leprechaun god essentially that protects the town. And so she gets roped into that, and she ends up like becoming friends with the lady who owned the bar in town, because of course as she's trying to leave after she finds this coin, one of her tires goes flat on her van and she can't leave. So she's like stuck there, and she's hanging out at the bar. And the lady basically says like, hey, you know, you should really stay for like the festivities. And the lady's actually like nice to her, not creepy like everybody else. And they get to talking, and the bartender lady realizes that our main character Nora doesn't really have a path in life. Like, she's been through some rough shit. She kind of has a rough past, like rough childhood and stuff. And she's just kind of lost, and she doesn't really know what she's looking for, but she's, you know, looking for something, you know? And so she kind of, you know, encourages her to, you know, partake in the festivities, but also it gets kind of creepy a little bit, because the people in this town are kind of culty and weird, and as it turns out, they don't necessarily sacrifice hot young women to the leprechaun hottie in the woods, but you know, it's kind of adjacent to that. The bartender, you know, kind of slips something in her drink a little bit and puts her, you know, in a little white dress and says, hey, you know, maybe you should go, you know, dance in the woods, you know, just have fun. And then, you know, the leprechaun guy, you know, finds her. It sounds creepy when you put it that way, and it kind of is. And the morals are, you know, they're gray. They're not the best, but it was kind of an interesting story. I did enjoy it. I like the leprechaun guy. So let's get into him. So he is kind of like a god. He has a lot of powers, and he is actually kind of sweet to the townspeople. Like, they pay tribute to him or whatever, but he doesn't really care that much about that. He kind of just watches over the town, and he's got a lot of powers. He has this magical forge that he works in where he like makes stuff, and he also likes to repair things. So he's mostly like a cobbler. So he'll kind of like sneak into the town at night and take people's stuff that needs to be mended, like their shoes or like clothes or whatever it is, and he will mend it and return it to them. And they know that like he's the one doing it. And so he kind of has this symbiotic relationship with the townsfolk, which is all well and good. And he's like nice and charitable to them. But he also kind of does this weird thing where if they kind of like, leave a girl for him or whatever, um, he does not take advantage, but he usually says like, "Hey, if you kiss me or sleep with me or whatever, I'll give you like gold," and it's enough like gold bars to basically let them have a fortune. They can live off of it forever and they'll be rich. And he's not like creepy about it per se, but he does mention that like the coin thing that she found is like he puts one out every year, and whatever woman like finds it, the magic kind of sticks to them. And so in a way it's like his magic chooses a girl every year, which is kind of weird. It's not like he keeps him as a bride or like holds him hostage or anything. It's more almost like a prostitution thing in a way, but they can say no. So it's not like a captive thing, but it's not, it's weird. It's just weird. I don't really know why he feels the need to do that, but anyways, he's been doing this for like centuries. And then with the girl Nora, she wakes up, she's like in his place or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, this guy is like kind of hot." And he's a leprechaun, but he's like 7 feet tall. He's almost more like a dwarf from like Lord of the Rings, but like 7 feet tall and green. And he's got like horns and stuff. And I liked his magic abilities. He also has the power to like control people's memories. So he can like take memories or like repair memories, and he has like abilities that have to do with like the gold and like making the gold coins and repairing clothes and shoes and stuff like that. So he's got a lot of like interesting powers, and I feel like this is one of the few books on this like TBR that I had for this video where the leprechaun is like really front and center and like a very cool magic creature in terms of like having a cool magic love interest that really embodies that like leprechaun vibe. And he also has powers around like rainbows and stuff. And he's hot and he is like sweet to her, and he like mends her clothes and her boots and everything. He like fixes her flat tire and like gives her a bunch of gold and stuff. But I think she immediately is kind of into him. They have like an insta love thing going on, which it does like mention that in the title of the book, so it's not like a surprise or anything. But I did think they were kind of tender, but I wish that they knew more about each other and it wasn't just like only spicy scenes, But the spicy scenes were good. I will say that. I thought they were well done. And there's also some like magical fight scenes in here because there's this creepy guy in the town who is trying to like hunt down the leprechaun guy, and he's been looking for him for a long time. And so that kind of comes to a head as well. And our girl Nora just immediately feels really connected to him and like interested in him, and they do have some fun banter and stuff. But I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I didn't like the part about him like sleeping with the other women before, just because it felt kind of weird and prostitution-y to me, and I didn't think that was really necessary. But I did like their romance. I just wish that there was more like tender scenes of them getting to know each other, because he can kind of like read her memories, so he knows about her, but not because of anything she told him. He can just tell because of his powers, but she doesn't really know a ton about his backstory or like, you know, she knows he's a leprechaun and stuff, but she doesn't really know like much about what he really is or like his backstory or why he came to be associated with this specific town or what his deal is. And I wish we could have gotten more into his backstory. I think that would have been really fun. So, anyways, I enjoyed it, and I think it was like my favorite book I've read so far for this video, which was fun. So, I will say that I did like it. I'm gonna give it like a 3.5. And then I also started another book, and this one's called Lucky Lion. So, this is a lion shifter romance, and it's also set during St. Patrick's Day. And it's between a lion shifter guy and a human woman. And so this is the second book in his series. I need to go back and read book 1 because I think they might be a little more interconnected than I thought. Like I'm still understanding the story perfectly fine, but it does reference at the beginning that our main guy has a really good friend who was the guy from book 1. And basically we're following these shifter men in this series as they go on this like mail order bride website essentially in order to find their human mates basically. And so our main guy is living in his hometown. He kind of has a bad reputation because of like a stupid thing he did in high school at a party, and I really don't think it's like a big deal per se, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. I think if he hadn't like stayed in that small town where he grew up, it wouldn't even be an issue, but whatever. So he's working there. He works at a furniture store and he is like the guy who delivers furniture to people's houses. And he seems like he likes his job. He has some other coworkers who are shifters at the store, and so we get to see him at work and like his interactions with his coworkers are kind of fun. He has like good banter with people. He's just kind of like getting to the point in his life where he's like young and he's kind of like, building financial stability and is kind of like looking for his mate after seeing his friend find his mate on this mail order bride website thing. And so he decides he's going to make an account and try and like find somebody. And he wants to try and find somebody who doesn't know about like whatever stupid thing he did in high school that made people in the town like not like him very much. He wants somebody who like doesn't know about dumb shit he did as a teenager. And so he matches with this human girl on there, and we see from her POV she's like excited to go on their date and like meet him, but she hasn't met him yet. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm still like at the beginning. I'm like 27% of the way through, but again, it's a like really short novella. I'm realizing most of the ones on my TBR were like pretty short novellas, so I'm trying to kind of see how many of them I can get through, like in a day or two, essentially. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I will update you when I've finished another book. Hello, I have a reading update for you guys. So I decided I'm gonna DNF Lucky Lion because I got like 70% of the way into this ebook, and I don't think this relationship is even in the room with us, to be honest. I know more about this girl's job than I do about her relationship with her man. They go on one date, and then she's like looking at houses in his town, and she's like, oh my god, maybe I'll like quit my job and move there. And she's like telling all of her coworkers that after like one date. And it keeps having time jumps where it jumps forward like multiple months, and we still don't get to see them really being together or like dating or getting to know each other or like anything. And immediately they're both like talking about marriage and stuff, I guess because they met on this like mail order dating website or whatever. But it's like we don't really get to see their relationship grow. They have like one kiss and one spicy scene, which are like good, but they're really short. And the random descriptions in this book of other things like their job or like the girl looking for houses are like longer than the descriptions we get of scenes with them together. And I feel like I just don't know their relationship at all. Like 70% in. And this is like a really short novella. It's like 50 pages on Kindle and 70% in. I'm like, nothing is happening with this romance, and it's driving me crazy. So I'm gonna DNF that. And it's kind of annoying because I feel like the characters were good. Like I really like the lion shifter guy, and I think seeing him in a romance could have been really cute. If I was even reading his romance, which I'm not, I'm reading about Miss Girly Pop's Zillow experience looking for a house in his town. Girl, the way I don't care. Anyway, I'm gonna move on and pick up another leprechaun romance. It's called The Leprechaun's Mate. And so I'm excited to get into this because I think it's going to be more similar to like Lured by the Leprechaun. And it also has like the really cute clovers on the cover, so I'm excited about that. So I am going to go get into that, and I'll update you later on when I have another reading update. Millie, what are you doing? You peeking at me. You're silly. You're a silly girl. Hi. Oh, sweet peach. Hey guys, I'm here to wrap up this reading vlog. So I finished reading The Leprechaun's Mate and I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. So we're following this girl named Julie and she is in Ireland because she is trying to figure out what the heck she's doing with her life. She basically is like working remotely from Ireland for a whole month just to kind of like have some space and be able to think through like what her next move in life is gonna be. She's not like dating anybody, but she has this career that's like stable, but she doesn't really have much going on in her life. Girly pop like needs a hobby really bad. Anyway, so she takes a break from her like tippy typing on her laptop and leaves the hotel and is like walking through the streets of Ireland, just like exploring and seeing everything. And while she's doing that, she runs into this guy who is like in the middle of the street outside of a building and he's like swearing in the street. And she like whatever makes like a sassy comment to him about him swearing, and he's like this super hot Irish guy. He's like over 6 feet tall, like ginger with the beard and everything. And she's like, okay, he's cute, but like whatever. It wasn't really like much more than like a passing joking comment that she made. And so, long story short, later on in the evening, she is working outside at like whatever, a cafe or something like outside the hotel, like on the street. And he walks up to her and like recognizes her from earlier. And they end up having like some really fun, like little flirty banter going on. And she's like, oh my God, this guy is like really hot. And I'm like kind of drawn to him, but she's not trying to like start a relationship or anything like that. And then he basically says like, hey, I want to take you out on a date. And so she agrees and the story like goes from there. And as it turns out, Mr. Hot and Heavy is actually a half leprechaun. So his dad's a leprechaun, his mom's a human, and his mom passed away when he was like little, but his dad is in Ireland still and owns this like business where he repairs shoes and stuff. He's like a cobbler. And basically he's getting older and his son, the love interest guy Sean, has come back to Ireland from the US because he went to school in the US, and he's coming back to like help his dad take care of the business, and he's kind of like planning on taking over the business in a few years when his dad retires. So he's coming back, in the whole like building where his dad lives and then has the shop downstairs is kind of like falling apart, so he's there to like do repairs and stuff, and he's just kind of like helping out his dad for the summer. And then, of course, he runs into Miss Julie and he realizes immediately that, like, she's his fated mate. And he, like, never thought that he would meet his mate because the leprechauns say that you have a higher chance of meeting your mate if you're in Ireland than you do outside of the country, because the leprechaun magic is, like, a lot stronger in Ireland. And they used to have more, like, mate stuff going on back in the day, and now there's like fewer leprechauns, so there's like a really low chance that you're ever going to find your mate. And anyway, so he knows that she's his mate and he's like super drawn to her, and he was like basically trying to figure out, how to get her to like him. And he is like, oh, this is my mate, but she's a human and she's a tourist. Like, I don't know how to explain this to her, and I don't want to like freak her out by telling her like I'm a half leprechaun and stuff. But anyways, they have super good fun banter. He's very hot and their interactions are just really funny and fun, and it's like exactly what I wanted from a leprechaun romance. And I also like hearing about his dad and his dad's powers and like the magic that they have in their family. They can like almost create like illusions and stuff, and they're good at like growing things, and they have the magic where they can um almost like cloaking magic. They can put like spells on stuff to be able to like hide their leprechaun gold. And they also are good at like repairing stuff and have like the collar business and everything. But anyway, so our main guy Sean is really sweet and I like him a lot. He's a really fun love interest. And I thought the spicy scenes in here were also like really well done. They weren't super cringy like some of the other books in this vlog. So that was refreshing and I enjoyed that. So honestly, it was like everything I could have asked for from a leprechaun romance, I feel like. There wasn't really anything in here that I didn't really enjoy. So I'm gonna give it a 5. I feel like for leprechaun smut, it was pretty damn good, to be perfectly honest. And I was like giggling and like kicking my little feet the whole time and just like eating it up. So anyways, that was really fun. So I think that's where I'm going to leave this vlog for right now. I don't think I'm going to get to the Go Luck Yourself one by Sarah Rosh in this vlog after all, because it's really not a monster romance, and I feel like I've read enough leprechaun smut in this vlog that I feel like I've scratched the itch, you know what I mean? And that one's also a little bit longer too, and it's a sequel, it's a second book in a series, so I feel like I achieved what I wanted to achieve in this video by reading a whole bunch of leprechaun smut, and I'm good with that, and I can just go read Go Luck Yourself some other time. So if you made it to the end of this vlog and you want to leave me an emoji just to say hi, leave me either a shamrock emoji or a rainbow emoji for the leprechaun vibes, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see some more bookish videos from me, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!